Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm still watching it. It's still going on live.
So let me send you the link here. Do you see the link on the live?
Yeah. I got
Like if you
it.
go to YouTube, I just put the link.
Okay, on the chat.
Yeah. Let me see something. Let me try to open up. Well, I guess it don't matter. Let me see. What is this? And that was a trip, wasn't it? I don't know. Hey, Jimmy, can you check Facebook? I mean, check YouTube to see if it's actually live on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm actually on YouTube right now, and yeah, it's live.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm on YouTube on my phone. It's live.
All right. Okay. So do you want to have our discussion now, or?
Sure. Let's go ahead and proceed then, and I'll continue monitoring this.
All right.
Let me see. You should be coming live shortly here.
Is it on?
Yeah, because I'm watching you right now on Zoom, but as we know, there is a delay on YouTube, so you should be coming on the screen soon. That'll be our verification that we are still live, but there is a delay in that live stream.
Okay. So I'm gonna check.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Let me see if let me see. I see something that says live. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. All right,
Okay.
I think it's live.
Yeah. Yep, it is live. So here you go. You just came on the screen now. Oh yeah, see what we're good. It's good. It's live with a delay. There's like about a 3 minutes delay. I'm taking it.
I see something that says live. Oh, okay. All right. So let me turn this on. Okay, so let's get started. So Shalom, everybody. I'm Dr. Yasafa with Zion Law School. Jimmy, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Jimmy Alexandre. Just a student of life, trying to dig to get to the bottom of the truth.
So if anybody, Jimmy, is it okay if somebody wants to come in? I don't know if anybody's gonna.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
I don't know if anybody's gonna want to come into the live, but this is my first time doing a live. So if anybody wants to come in, you're welcome to come into the classroom. We'll send you the link, and you can come in and be a part of the conversation. Okay, so Jimmy, let's talk about it.
Yes, in your school, Zion Law School, I've been with the school now for, I would say, a good part of 6 months, for the past 6 months.
Yeah.
And learning the concept, very, very great information of understanding the roots or etymology, as you would say, of proper understanding of the word, the written word. Understanding that the word was written in Hebrew or what's the word? Helio Hebrew, is that right?
The script?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Paleo Hebrew.
Okay.
Let's, for those who may not know, there are three scripts. There's ancient, paleo, and late. So ancient would be the original script, and then paleo, according to scholars, is the script that the Hebrew scriptures were in. Okay, were originally penned in, and then the late script comes out of Babylonian captivity that occurred during Babylonian captivity. Remember, we went through this. Jimmy, were you in the free class? No, you weren't in the free class.
No, I wasn't. I kept hearing, and that was probably the process of me trying to get in.
Yeah, so we went in a lot of detail about that, but that's the scripts are really peripheral, right? The main concern, meaning the thing that gets us restoration, gets us our heritage back, gets us the blessings, is the contract. So everything else is peripheral. Everything else is academic. the contract is the main thing. But anyway, that said, go ahead. That's just for people who may not be aware.
Yeah, yes. So you see, once you start understanding, the ancient Hebrew, and when you realize that the translation and transliteration that was done was a way where the enemy comes in to create this mass confusion. And I also believe personally that this mistranslation and transliteration of the word is part of the reason why you have so many different religions. So the confusion then gets even deeper. It get even deeper. So with Zion Law School, it literally provide that opportunity to literally bypass all of this and then go in for yourself and really pick up what the word is really saying, what was originally written. So then when you understand that, the original writers, when they wrote what they wrote, they understood or perceived the world in a concrete manner. So with that said, understanding the world in a concrete manner, it doesn't matter what is being translated, then you have to understand what were they really saying. And to understand it, as you've taught us, we must be able to identify at least one of the five senses with it. So it comes to the understanding that concrete, anything that we read, specifically, let's say the Old Testament, the ancient Hebrew that was written, anything that we read, if it cannot be matched up or understood or shared through one of those five senses where you can actually experience it, I can experience it, anybody can actually experience it, then it would be considered abstract. Now,
I have a question for you, Jimmy. I have a question for you. So, uh, so at Zion Law School, have you learned doctrine or have you learned skills or have you learned theory? Like what, in your opinion?
definitely not doctrine. And I'll tell you why specifically not doctrine first. Doctrine is something that I'm going to read and then I'm going to impose on you what it actually means.
Right.
Thus creating a doctrine that I want you to believe and see it the way that I see it, and in other words, view it the way that I view it. Whereas in your class, and I remember a couple of times I myself and some of the other scholars asked certain questions, and you've always made it a point not to voice your opinion, but try to refer it to the word. So here's what the word says. Then you would go into different dictionaries to break down the meaning of that word. Then we're going to the lexicon, which is the Strong's Concordance, and then try to see for ourselves what does it mean to us. Now, with the information that we have, knowing that it must have been, you must be able to experience it in one of the five senses, then now you yourself can come to the bottom, to the conclusion, well, what is it that was actually written? See, that's a piece of information a lot of people don't understand and do not know. And that's a key information to understanding the written word, specifically in the Old Testament. Now, this is exactly where my problem comes in, Dr. Yusuf, to be quite honest with you. Being born in Haiti, we've seen, well, first, as a child, you hear a lot of things. As an adult, I went back to Haiti and will say experience a lot of things. And these type of things you would say are abstract. For, let's say here I'm living in the United States. For an American, and you tell them about that, for example, you go to a voodoo dance and you're literally seeing, like it's not abstract if you're seeing somebody taking fire, coal, and chewing it, and their mouth do not get burned. Eating glass and literally take a glass, break it, and you chew it, and they're not cut, no blood coming out. Talking about it would seem to be abstract. But then when you literally lived it and you see it with your own eyes, now it becomes concrete. But the idea of it, I guess, would still remain an abstract. So my thing is trying to bring in the correlation of where does concrete meets abstract, because to some level we have to deal with the abstract, and I'll tell you why. Let me ask you a question briefly before I say this. Do you dream? Do you have dreams?
Do I have dreams?
Yes.
Of course, yes.
So okay, so you've had dreams.
Mhm.
So when I'm thinking of concrete versus abstract, because we know that if it's not abstract, and this is not to go into the New Testament quite yet, when you have a dream
Mhm.
and you attempt to explain to somebody what that dream is, but whatever you saw in that dream is personal to you.
Right.
That's your experience. Only I experience what I've actually saw. And I don't know if you've ever had one of those dreams where you literally, by the time you wake up on it, you still can't believe it was a dream because it felt so real. You were
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
So something like that. How would you explain that in the abstract versus concrete
So,
terminology?
uh, can you screen share and look up the definition of abstract or abstracticus? Or do you want me to share my PowerPoint?
Well, would you mind? I think we'll probably be get
Okay.
more
Let me see
done.
if I can find it real quick. I'm gonna try to share my PowerPoint. Let me find it.
Okay.
Because I agree with you. These are very complex, complex concepts because we're not used to thinking like that anymore.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it takes some practice to uh, to get into it, to be able to become comfortable with it. Okay, so here we are. I found the PowerPoint. So let me try to share my screen. Let me know if you can see it, Jimmy.
Oh, well,
Can you see that?
yes, I can.
All right. Can you present this slide, please?
I
Same
absolutely.
way, let's do it the same way we do it in class.
Okay. Okay. So world view. So this is a general worldview, and in this worldview here, we are looking at Hebraic versus Greek. Hebraic versus Greek.
Hebraic versus Greek worldview. And why is that important?
Well, because we would say they are totally opposite. Um, the world
Yeah,
we are, the Bible that we claim, or the books that we claim to follow, the Most High, uh, was originally written in Hebraic. That's the foundation.
yes. And the Hebraic worldview is what?
The Hebraic worldview, we have learned, is concrete. In
Very
other words,
good. And the
something that
Greek,
we must experience with the five senses. One
yeah,
of the
and the
five
Greek,
senses.
you're correct. Very good. And the Greek worldview?
The Greek worldview is being opposite, we say, is abstract.
Correct.
Abstract, again, something that only you can experience.
Excellent. Excellent. And where does that experience take place?
Well, that's within you, in there, in your mind, within you,
In the
just
mind.
personally. Mhm.
Very good. And that's the question that we're talking about, right? Now,
Yes,
how
sir.
does this manifest itself when we look at the various translations of the Bible? We reviewed this over the last, I think, 3 or 4 days, if you remember.
Mhm.
We looked at, hold on, let me show you this video.
Okay.
Well, let me see.
I'm actually lagging.
Why, let me rephrase it. Why are there so many different Bible translations? That's what I'm getting at.
Well,
Were you in the class?
no, I missed that part
Okay.
where we had
So
so
let
many
me
positions.
let me pull this video up. So let me stop this share. This gets to what we're dealing with, Jimmy. We did a video on this topic. So let me go. I had to close some of this stuff out. We did a video on why there's so many Bible translations. Um, and I know you know this information already, because we've been through it before. So let me screen share now. So this is for other people who might watch this video and they'll know what to do next. Oh, here, this one. Do you remember this one?
Why so many Bible 3 days ago? No, I think I missed the beginning of that class. That was 2 days ago. Or was that
so let's see. I'm gonna try to well, Jimmy, when you get time, go back and watch this video.
Okay, let me just see which one is from 3 days ago. I started watching the other one from 2 days ago, actually. This one's from 3 days ago.
Why there's so many Bible translations? So now you mentioned that the Hebraic worldview is concrete and the Greek worldview is abstract, right?
Yes.
So in order to translate, I'm trying to stop the share. In order to translate from concrete to abstract, what has to take place? What did they do? What did these translators do? Because they had to take it from the concrete and put it into the Greek, because the Greeks didn't understand concrete thought. Right?
I'm with you.
You follow me? So they took it from the concrete, these translators, they translated it from concrete and then rewrote it or rendered it into abstract language, right? So for example, a concrete example would be, let's say, Jimmy is a strong tree planted by the river, right? So what is that saying to us? Jimmy's a very strong person. He's stable, right? Right. Jimmy's not going anywhere, right? Just like a tree planted by the river, you know, it has deep roots, right?
That you can see, okay?
So everything that comes to mind. So you can touch a tree, you can feel it, you can, all of that, you know, it's concrete. Whereas in the Greek, they would say, Jimmy is a strong person. Jimmy is stable. Can you touch stable? No. Can you, right? So those are things you just need to know the definitions, right? But they don't exist in the concrete world. Right?
Right. They do not exist in the concrete world.
So the question that you brought is, how do these two things resolve themselves? I think that's what you're asking. Do they meet someplace?
How do they meet? How do they come together?
Like, for example, in a dream, is a dream concrete or abstract?
Abstract, exactly.
That was the question, right?
Yes.
Because it feels so real. So feelings take place where?
Within you, and within the mind, your emotions.
Right, so can you touch a feeling?
You cannot touch it.
Right, it doesn't meet it doesn't meet the requirements of the test for concrete, right?
It does not, because you cannot experience it with none of the five senses. Because let me see, feeling, you cannot really see the feeling. You may see an expression, but the feeling itself, you cannot see the feeling. You cannot touch the feeling. Well, somebody can try to explain it and you hear it.
But it's not the feeling. You're hearing the word.
You're hearing of the feeling, but you're not the feeling itself, the term you cannot hear. You cannot taste it. Yeah, so it does not meet any of the five senses.
Right. And for anybody who might view this video, let's walk through these few slides to demonstrate this and prove it to people. Okay. So you're going to present this, okay?
Yes, I will.
So you did the Hebraic versus Greek. Now let's go through the other one. And Jimmy, give commentary just as you would in class as you go, okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
So as we mentioned, it is totally opposite. In other words, one is day, the other one is night. The Greek mind operates outside of reality. So now we're dealing with reality. So here we can literally say something that is concrete. It's something that is reality because you can touch it, you can feel it, you can experience it with the five senses. Whereas we just said in the mind, a feeling, an emotion, well, you can try to express it, but it will not fit into the five senses. So then now we know we can then identify and say that concrete is reality, abstract is dealing outside of reality. So
Excellent.
we will go ahead and attempt to prove it through these slides.
Okay, very good. Next point.
Next point would be the Hebraic culture and idioms.
Yeah.
Idioms.
Yeah. So Hebraic culture would be the way we did things, the way we perceive things, right? The way we did things and perceive things. We are particularly interested. I don't know if I should bring it. Well, I'll tell you this on a private conversation, okay?
Okay. Okay.
So idioms. So we can go through that privately also. So let's go here. All right. So let's continue.
So now looking at abstract Greek paradigm. Okay, so we clearly understand that abstract is a Greek paradigm, which is what we are living in under today.
Excellent.
When we talk about the Western world, we are dealing with the Greek paradigm. All right, and then there's proof of that, I guess, even in medical. A lot of our medications, a lot of our formulas comes from the Greek paradigm. That's what we are dealing. That's what we are living under right now.
Mm-hmm.
So abstract is derived from the Latin word abstractus, which means drawn away, to drag away, detached, pull away, divert, detach from reality. Again, opposite of reality. In philosophy, withdrawn or separated from material objects or practical matters, opposed to concrete. So, in other words, it is more focused on what I'm feeling personally, what I'm thinking personally, versus what we all can actually witness, feel, be a part of.
Excellent. Excellent.
Theology.
Theology.
Which is a theory, philosophy, metaphysics, imagination, ideal.
So theology deals with religion, right?
Absolutely.
And religion is doctrines.
A lot of doctrines. In other words, the theology, the individual reads it and tells you what he personally feels about it. And the expectation is that somehow, some way, you're supposed to feel it too, you're supposed to believe it too, and you're supposed to accept it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yet when there is no common bond, such as one of the five senses, to connect both of us to the same thing.
Yes. So theology are teachings, right? You can't, they don't meet the test for concrete, as you said, right?
That's right. Theology.
But what does, I don't know if you remember this from one of the classes, what does meet the test of concrete? Remember we talked about natural law?
Yes, we're talking about the natural laws. Yes.
Right. Those are physical things that we experience with our senses, but that's a topic for a private discussion.
Okay. Okay.
Right? So that would be the opposite of theology. So abstract versus concrete. Okay, so theory. Can you give the audience some discussion about theories?
Well, nursing school, for example, you learn a lot of stuff in class that you try to imagine what it would be like in the real world in a situation if a patient, a client comes in. That's all theory. Whereas when you go to the clinic, to the hospital, and you have that individual come in and you can literally see it, the situation, it's amazing how basically all the theory that you kind of learn almost try to go out the window because you're dealing with the facts, you're dealing with the concrete matter. So theory is what is in your own perception of what you think it should be or is, which again is opposite of reality. And I think that's a great example of the difference, because again, theory remains theory, practical reality remains practical reality because that is concrete, that you can feel. The other one you can literally talk about, but nothing to connect all of us to it because there is nothing there.
Yeah, that's right. So theory involves hypothesis or guesses, best guesses.
Best guesses, okay?
And theories are not, uh, they're not fact. They're just the best guess available at the time. Theories change as more evidence, more facts are accumulated. It's just the best guess. That's a theory. So it could not be concrete, right? So you are absolutely right. Uh, what's a theory that has devastated? Let me rephrase that. What's a very prominent theory that has contributed to the way we see Western society today?
Hmm.
Theory of begins with E. EV. 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 Evolution.
Evolution, okay, okay.
Theory of evolution. It's taught,
Yes, yes, yes.
but it's just a theory.
It's
It's
just a theory.
unproven, right? So it's the product of of thought, right? Whatever these people want, whatever aim they want to achieve, they develop a theory. Theory of evolution, social engineering, social psychiatric theories, psychological theories, right? Their explanations, best guesses to explain something that they see in reality. It's just a best guess,
Best
right?
guess, which is why theories continuously keep changing.
Yes. And they use mathematical equations and assumptions and all of these things, but it's all taking place here, right?
Right.
And it's meant to explain something or to predict something, but it's not what actually happened. Okay, so let's talk about philosophy. Why is philosophy abstract? And there's a definition of philosophy in the second bullet point.
And where's the definition?
Yeah, explaining why philosophy is abstract, not concrete. It says withdrawn or
Withdrawn or separated from material objects. Is that where we at?
yes.
Yeah, yeah. In philosophy, withdrawn or separated from material objects or practical matters.
So how does that relate to abstract and concrete?
Hmm. So philosophy is basically, this is my philosophy. This is the way I see it, regardless of the facts,
Mhm,
regardless of what actually we all can experience.
mhm.
I'm trying to think of a good example of it. Give me
Or you could
one
have
second.
a philosophy about about let's make it applicable to us. You could have a philosophy about who should live and who should die based upon your theory of genetics. So, for example, some scientists think because they they have this belief that they should conquer and they're superior, that the richly melanated people are inferior. Therefore, uh, the babies should be aborted, or the richly melanated people should be given incentives not to have children because their children are going to spread bad genetics, right?
That's a philosophy.
That's a scientific philosophy based upon a theory.
Hmm.
Okay. But as you said, it's totally withdrawn. As the definition says, it's withdrawn or separated from material objects. So when you look at our bodies, you don't see uh, these things that these scientists are saying that makes us inferior. What you see in actuality is that our melanin, et cetera, makes us even more capable than people who don't have melanin, right?
Hmm.
Because we can tolerate the sun, right? I mean,
Right.
we feed off of the sun, whereas those people who are making these theories they cannot tolerate the sun and they'll get melanoma. You understand what I'm saying?
I'm with you. I'm with you. Therefore, cannot relate.
Yeah, they can't survive in the sun. Also, let's say a person who has melanin deficiency, or people who only, let's say people who would be classified as white, and by that, we're talking about people who don't have melanin in every layer of the skin. Remember we had that
Yes, and
class?
we also said that only a biopsy would be able to
Yeah,
truly identify who true colors, to put
that's
it in
right.
simple terms.
That's right. So when we look at philosophy, it says withdrawn or separated from material objects or practical matters.
Mhm.
So these theories are disconnected from physical facts that we can see. Like I can see white skin, I can see melanoma, right?
Mhm.
I can see with my own eyes or experience with my own senses things that are in reality, because that's the definition of reality, what you can experience through your senses,
To your senses, that's reality.
right?
Yes.
That's reality, what you can experience through your senses. So philosophy is disconnected from reality in as much as you only can what? Experience it or
In your
conjure it up
mind.
in your brain.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Disconnected from the physical world, separate from practical matters. Is that clear?
Yeah,
Or
it is. It is literally built up based on what one perceived to be important. And I guess what's going through my mind right now. Remember back in well, in nursing school, one of the things that you learn is that if you are in a situation where, let's say, there is an event that takes place, a fire somewhere where a lot of people are hurt, so now you have to prioritize the care that you're actually giving. So philosophy then comes in play and said that, well, we're going to go ahead and try to service anybody that is able to walk, that is able to talk. We're going to service them versus people who are unresponsive. Those are the ones that we're going to try to get to urgent care.
right, or what about this one? What about this one? What about someone has, let's say, some type of respiratory infection,
Mhm.
and so they say, well, we're going to vaccinate that
Everybody.
population of people who have uh, diabetes, obesity, heart disease, all of these pre-existing conditions. We're going to vaccinate them first. That's based upon a philosophy, right?
That's right. That's right. That's right. Because there's nothing concrete to say that vaccinating these people or everybody because of it is the actual solution that everybody can experience.
Right, because there are safer ways to achieve health and to protect the community, like boosting the immune system, like radically changing the diet back to natural foods, right? Promoting exercise.
Get all
So
these
it's a
chemicals.
philosophy. Um, okay, so very, very good. Do you have anything else to say about philosophy?
No, no. I think it's understood, and anyone who's watching this should be able to understand, what
Oh,
philosophy is. It's all gonna be up there. What one personally perceive or a group come together agreed upon. What is good for them, but it's not in no way, shape, or reality that all can actually experience.
you know what's another good one about philosophy? Let's say philosophy dealing with ethics.
Mm,
And one of the things I'm thinking about is, let's say, the ethics of love everybody. This is purely Greek, love everybody. That sounds good, but it's not practical, right?
okay. Okay.
This idea of loving everybody and forgiving everybody. When you practice that, most people will take advantage of you. They'll look at you as being an easy target and weak, right?
Mhm.
It's not going to, at least from my experience and from what I can see with people groups around the world, in other words, the richly melanated people, we've practiced this forgiveness thing, love everybody, and look where it's gotten us. So it's proven that it is separated from practical matters. In other words, it doesn't work in the real world. People understand power. right? They understand power and punishment, the ability to, they understand revenge. If you do me wrong, I'm gonna get you, right? They
Eye for
understand
an
that.
eye.
And we see that in the Hebrew scriptures.
An eye for an eye.
That's right. And we see what our ancestors did to people who wronged them, you know, versus religion pushing a philosophy or doctrine of love everybody and forgive. It doesn't work in the real world. For example, look at the African population. The Europeans are still ravaging them. Look what's happening with the richly melanated people in India. Their religion tells them also to be docile, right? Look what's happening to them. Look what's happening to us in the US. Being loving and forgiving haven't got these people's knee off of our neck, right? So the evidence, the facts and the evidence tells us that it does not work in the real world, but we keep doing it.
But we keep on. I mean, then of course you have different experiences, and as you speak, I'm just going through and understanding what you're saying, and it's coming right back to that question. Isn't perhaps this is where there has to become a balance, because I from what I see, from what I'm understanding,
Mhm.
there is a significant level of abstract that we have to deal with, like philosophy, theory. I mean, everything around us is shaped through an abstract understanding.
Yes.
In fact, the way I'm starting to see this is almost as is reality is becoming abstract, and abstract is becoming reality. Because if I can live it in my mind, this is it.
Right. But what we should learn from is what? We should learn from animals. We can see animals and insects. For example, we look at ants, very hard workers, right?
Uh-huh.
And they work what? They work together,
Always.
right? And if you look like in Asia, I'm gonna tell you something that kind of blows me away every time I think about it. But it might seem like nothing. But here, there are big cockroaches, huge, like that, huge, and some of them fly, right? So that cockroach is walking around, right, doing whatever he want to do. There's one ant, two ants, three ants. Cockroach is not bothered. But Jimmy, when there's a whole load of ants, the little itty bitty ants, I'm talking about like tiny ants. When there's a whole bunch of them around, man, that cockroach goes crazy. And those ants attack the cockroach and actually kill it and eat it.
And they carry it.
Yes, because they work as a team. And I've seen it many times, and every time I see it, it just blows me away. What numbers can do, right? And what working
The numbers.
together can do, right? So you have a David and Goliath type of situation. But when the rest of those little bitty tiny ants come along, man, they destroy that and they eat them. I've never seen a cockroach escape.
Wow.
These little bitty tiny ants. And the cockroach knows, right? The cockroach knows he's finished,
It's done.
but they cannot get away. The cockroach can, when those ants get them, they cannot get away. It's the most amazing thing.
Wow.
So we have examples in nature, living and non-living. We have concrete examples on behavior, right?
Mm-hmm.
That, for example, working together and cooperating. We can translate that into what? Economics, group economics, right?
I'm with you. I'm with you.
And other, of course, other things too.
Comes into play.
Hmm?
Mm-hmm. You know, other things
Well,
comes into play.
yeah, so this whole notion of abstract, we didn't deal like that, right? Our ancestors didn't deal, but we, of course, we have the faculty to think abstractly, but we kept it in its proper place, right?
Mm-hmm.
We deal as you said, our ancestors deal with reality. Reality is what we experience with our senses. So we can look at a pride of lions, right? And based upon their behavior, we can learn on how to deal with each other. For example, we can get an idea of what a strong woman is like and what a strong man is like, right, just by watching a pride of animals, right? Look how a female lion will work with, cooperate with the male lions. You see what I'm saying?
I'm with you. I'm with you. Understand.
And look how a male lion will protect a female lion.
They actually
So we can learn
their role.
Yes, they know their roles, their gender roles, and they're acting in harmony with nature. But when these people started putting in these abstract concepts and things like that, it started to confuse things, and people don't know their role, as you said.
And then they call it freedom. They call it freedom. Then people get excited. Oh, yes, I want to be free.
Yeah. And plus, elephants stick with elephants, lions with lions, right? Mm-hmm. And then we also know, for example, here's a good one. Here's a good one, Jimmy. At least for me. This is a good one. There are many type of cats. Mm-hmm. See, people believe that all humans are the same. That's not true. But in theory and in science, they tell you that's true, right? But when you look in nature, we don't see that at all. For example, there's a lion. Lions hang with lions, and they have a certain amount of power, right? Mm-hmm. They're in the cat family, right?
Yes.
Now, then there's a leopard.
That's also in the cat family.
Also in the cat family. But a lion and a leopard are not equal, right? There's a mountain lion. And a mountain lion and a leopard and a cat, they're not equal. They have their own characteristics, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's a house cat, right? Mm-hmm. That house cat is not equal to a lion, but they're all in that family. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with
so
you.
Nature does not show equality within a species. There's different types of canine, right? There's dogs and everything else, but they're not equal. This whole business about all people are equal is only in theory, but when you look at it in reality, you see there's one group dominating over another. You see what I mean? So that's separated from practical matters.
So the theory or the philosophy that all people are equal, again, is
yeah, and when people buy into that philosophy, now you become a victim. Mm-hmm. You become a victim because, well, if you're richly melanated, because now you become domesticated. You're hoping to be treated equally, whereas a dominant group is going to continue to dominate you and conquer you and give you more philosophies to pacify you. Instead of if you're acting concretely, you're going to act in your best interest because you're operating based upon your sense, what you experience in your senses.
Reality, yes. Oh, interesting.
But anyway, that's the idea that I had. But we are not all equal. So when we say Yasharala is supposed to rule, well, that's okay, right?
Yeah,
that's okay because we're not all equal. It just so happens the Most High chose us, But anyway, so what can you say about imagination and idealism?
Well, imagination, ideas, again, still falls into the same category as philosophy because, again, it's just your imagination, again, what you are experiencing up here that nobody else can actually experience. So, the conquerors, like we were just saying, come with this great idea in their imagination to divide and conquer. So they, like you said, pacify us with philosophy. I mean, that's a very interesting concept. They pacify us with philosophy, and then we buy into this philosophy, which keep us out of the reality. So what we are thinking, what we are being driven or conditioned to feel to do is different than the actual reality we are dealing with each and every day.
Yes.
But we somehow, some way, I guess the majority of people are not able to wedge the difference and see it for what it is and have concrete information like this to understand the difference. And then, well, I guess once you understand the difference, now you can live based on reality versus all the abstract or philosophy that we are being fed, which is exactly what's happening, in religion.
Exactly. And maybe that's the purpose of religion. Maybe that's one of the purposes of religion. Right?
Well, yeah, to get that philosophy across, to get
So
that
the
philosophy
interesting thing,
across.
yes, the interesting thing about imagination is that the faculty of imagination is a creative faculty that will allow us, and we did a class on this, the faculty of imagination is one of the faculties that allow us to create our own reality, to create the conditions, concrete conditions, to create whatever lifestyle we want. So ideal. So how is it that the ideal, what is the ideal and why is it abstract?
Again, the ideal, it is in your mind, but Dr. Yusufa,
Mhm.
what you were just saying is very interesting, and this is along the same line. You've heard of the secret theory, right?
Yes,
So you imagine it, and you somehow the universe is set up to where you're like a magnet, and you can attract these things to you.
yes, it's based upon the reticular activating system
Okay.
in your brain. Uh, the Most High created us with the ability to create our own reality through the use of imagination, uh, which would be visualization, and through the use of emotion and speech.
Okay.
So you will always, you meaning the individual,
Mhm.
will always produce the conditions in life that you imagine and that you feel with your emotions and that you speak, right?
Right.
This is the way we're created. Now that has reference to the blessings and the curses. Like for
Now,
example,
mhm.
in the class, I talk about the mechanism, how this all works, uh, also in the entrepreneurship class, but then I also talk about or provide some discussion on what we can do to shift from the paradigm of the curses to the paradigm that facilitates the blessings, right?
Mhm.
And then how the Most High can actually influence the reticular activating system.
Mhm.
But that's complicated. Well, not complicated, but that's a long story. But did you have a question?
No, no, just as you speak, and we're looking at imagination being abstract. What hit me was usually what becomes a reality for us would start with an imagination.
Yes.
Then would
Yes.
it be safe? Would it be safe to say what we know as abstract can be used, which again going with the imagination, to bring something into reality?
Yes. That's why we're in the condition we're in now. See, remember we talked about natural law.
Yes.
These natural laws, for example, physical laws, through understanding and manipulating physical laws, you can shoot a rocket in the sky.
Hmm.
You can fly an airplane, right? You can create the internet and Wi-Fi, right? Because you know how to manipulate the various laws. Well, these same, same laws apply to ethics or morality. Remember we talked about harm?
Mm-hmm.
Remember
So,
that discussion?
yes, I was actually there. I believe it was Mr. Derek who actually mentioned that book. So, in other words, we were conditioned basically to do the dirty work. So, in other words,
Yes,
the person who's
yes.
doing the
So
hands-on act is the guilty party.
yes. So these moral laws are just as real as physical laws like electricity or gravity, right? They're just as real, but our people don't know about them. But the people who control us, they know about them and they use them to keep us oppressed and to keep us down.
Yeah.
So what we need to do, and what I want to do in Zion Law School, is begin to teach these laws so that we can get out of this mess.
Get out of that mindset.
Right now, our people are acting on religious beliefs and doctrine, right, which often conflict with the natural laws,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we do things to hurt or harm ourselves.
And just for the record, Dr. Yusafa, for the people who perhaps
Mhm.
are hearing,
Mhm.
at any time, what are the natural laws?
We'll go into it in the classroom, not on this video.
Not on this video.
Yeah, if anybody wants to know, we're going to it
They have to come into the classroom to learn those natural
yeah,
laws that
right.
are put in
But
place.
the essence of it is do no harm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The essence of it that everybody needs to know is do no harm, right?
Right.
And for those people who know, in the Americas, we were unique because we did not harm each other. Prior to contact with the Europeans, if you look what these European explorers wrote about us, we didn't harm each other. We didn't need prisons. We didn't need all of these things. We lived in complete harmony and peace with each other. Why is that? It wasn't because we were great people. We just followed natural laws, which made us great, right? And remember, we talked about the relationship between the natural laws and the commandments or the instructions. Don't tell it here, Jimmy. Don't tell it here, but we went through that, right?
Yes.
But the essence of all of this is don't harm anyone. So anybody who wants to improve their life by following natural laws, all you really need to do is not harm anybody. But that begs the question, what is harm? Okay, so if anybody wants to know that, they can come to our classes and they can learn. Okay.
Just keep key information that I think we all need. So that's more motivation to definitely join this class. Because I'll be honest with you, Dr. Yusafa, it has been a true awakening for me personally with this information and to actually even be able to have this discussion with you at this level. Speaks a lot of what I've actually picked up, within the past 6 months of following your class and showing up. Not on time all the time because of everything else going on, but showing up, catching as much as I can.
Okay, great. Are you learning research skills? I mean, are you learning skills to make you independent so that you don't need me or you don't need somebody else to teach you, or are you just learning stuff?
No, I am learning skills to be able to verify and validate this information myself. Not to say, well, Dr. Yusafa said, or whoever it is said, but look, this is what it says, and here is where I can prove it. So I'm definitely learning skills and not being a parrot just repeating.
Okay, great. And what about analytical thinking? Are you in the class? For those who are listening, in the class, Jimmy, are you guys learning to accept what some author says, or are you learning and practicing how to analyze, evaluate, and then make your own decisions?
Definitely to analyze, evaluate, and make my own decision. And there was a word you usually use, the etymology, and there was also another word that we in our modern world do not really understand grammar. We do not understand certain things, and we've taken this abstract paradigm, this abstract concept, and we ran with it, and you have the best of the best doing a lot of different things, and some has found true success in it. But again, at what cost? Whereas here we can literally learn how to discover the truth. And I think really anybody who are part of religion, and who's not just in it for the popularity, or who's not just in it for the simple fact of trying to gain wealth, is truly seeking for truth, purpose, and truth. And I think the skills, these skills that Zion Law School presents or provide us, this skills I think is really what every single individual needs. And I think if every single individual were able to have that skill and be able to go in and not just accept what the author said, not just accept the things that was passed down to us from our grandparents and great grandparents who did that and who pass it on, those traditions that we become accustomed to, but going in and finding the basic, going back to basic. I think that would make a significant difference, because then people would then understand the natural laws that you were talking about and how to apply it, and then see the actual difference in their lives.
Yeah. Thanks for that. Oh, it was etymology, denotative, and connotative.
I'm still gonna try to remember that. Etymology, demotative.
Yeah, denotative meaning. Denotative would be the equivalent of the etymology. It would be the original word.
The original word, yes.
Right. And connotative, if you can imagine connotative being the changes that word undergoes over time due to social engineering.
Oh, we can say counterfeit. I like counterfeit.
That's a counterfeit. That's where the trickery comes in, to get you to speak certain things into existence without you realizing. Remember, what produces your reality is your imagination, your emotion, and your speech. Right? So people who understand these natural laws, they can fool you. Right? They'll have you saying a word. In your mind, you're thinking the connotative meaning. But in reality, the denotative meaning could be something that works against you.
That works against you, and that's what you're speaking into life.
Yeah.
To reality.
So when you write, and remember we talked about taking action, right? So action is also part of that. I forgot to mention action. Action is also part of that. But this is why they say when you're writing, curse or cursing yourself in the English language, right?
Yes.
Because it's full of connotative stuff. Or spelling, right? Casting spells, legalese. You're communicating either on paper or verbally stuff that's working against you. And we don't know it because we don't understand, like you said, etymology. We don't understand denotative meaning and connotative meaning. So we're being fooled. we're the biggest actors in our own demise. Wow. So that's part of how these laws operate, and how they're the puppet masters, right? They get us to do it to ourselves. Because, for example, let's say these hybrids, they scheme and they plot, right? Let's say like a record, the music industry, okay? They're only interested in words that are songs that are harmful to us, right? That's what they pay for. So who's more wrong? Who's more wrong? Them promoting that, or the people who actually make the music, right?
Yeah.
The artist. And then who's more wrong at that point? The people who are influenced by it, who goes out and harms people. For example, they harm their wife, They harm women. Right? They kill people because they've been influenced by this. So in that hierarchy, who's really who's done the most harm?
The
It's the
person that
person.
goes out and committed the crime.
That's right. The person who went out and committed the crime. Who's the next? The person who actually wrote the song, right? And but who has the least?
The
It's the
person
people.
the person who actually put it out there, the person who put it in motion has the least responsibility.
Yeah, because he didn't do anything. Nobody told the artist. Nobody forced him, right?
Yeah.
He just put that out there. The guy at the top, he just put it out there. But the artist, nobody told him. Nobody put a gun to his head and said, "You better do this." All done by free will.
That is very interesting, because let's think about it. We're dealing with a system that judges us based on concrete. So that means the abstract guy who's planting the seed is innocent.
Yes, yes, yes. He has very, very little responsibility, right? And then you know what they can do? They can go out and enact, they can activate another natural law to postpone the punishment that comes with violating the initial natural law of harming somebody. So for example, they'll go out and donate money to a good cause, significant money to a good cause, maybe feed 10,000 people. Because, you know, harming and helping people, these are natural laws. So this is the way they minimize and postpone the punishment due to them for breaking these natural laws. So they're the puppet master. They're harmonizing and manipulating natural laws the same way engineers manipulate natural laws so that an airplane can fly.
Can fly, literally.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And because we're the ones who are we bear the most guilt because we actually did it, we get the punishment and the burden upon us, right? And it's clear, and we're not even trying to mitigate them. This is why they don't want us to know about natural laws, right?
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Because the more we understand about natural laws, that would literally change our lives. It would change our people. It would change our conceptions. It would literally change what's going on.
Yes.
Which then makes sense that, you know, that's the only way when enough of us understand this. That's the only way we can get out of these curses and into the blessings.
That's right. That's right. We have to completely change our paradigm. Completely change our paradigm. Stop harming each other, right? Start to think and function as a group, right? Just like those ants, or those tigers, those lions, right? Function as a group. But you see the troglodytes, the hybrids, they put systems in place to prevent us from doing that. For example, those statutes that pit mothers against fathers, right?
Yeah.
You know, but anyway, so going back to the slides, the ideal situation is the perfect situation, and the ideal situation never happens. It's for example, it's something that you can imagine, the very, very best case scenario. The ideal almost never happens. So that's why it would be abstract. So what about this in bold? This bullet point in bold.
Be experienced by senses out of reality. So that's anything that is not experienced by one of the five senses, it's out of reality.
So what's another word for out of reality? What's a synonym for out of reality?
Abstract.
Let's say other than abstract. Let's say the doctor says, Mrs. Jones, your sister is not dealing with reality well.
Hmm.
What is that doctor saying about this?
She's not dealing with the truth well.
So what would we call that? What's a synonym for it?
For truth, maybe I should look this one up, man.
Let's say the patient, Jimmy, let's say the patient is seeing things that are not actually there.
Illusion.
Right. What if they're hearing things that are not actually there?
There's delusion. There's
Right. That's right. So let me ask you, is that normal mental health?
No, that would be considered abnormal.
So what is it saying about people who have an abstract paradigm?
That's abnormal.
It's abnormal.
It's abnormal. Yeah.
In street language, we say they're crazy.
Yeah.
Right? We say they're crazy. You know? So the Greek for us was crazy. That's why we didn't deal with them. You see what I mean?
I do. But they've managed to conquer and take over.
Yes, because of the curses, right? Because of the curses. Okay, so that's excellent. So what are the this crazy way of thinking, this abstract way of thinking facilitates what? Can you explain each bullet point?
Rationalization. So now it affects the way we rationalize things versus rationalizing things in a concrete. Now we rationalize it with our imagination. You know what?
Right, let's think in terms of the curses.
Wow.
Okay, so we have our land, and then some foreign invader comes in, takes it. They rationalize about what? Why it's rightfully theirs. Think doctrine of discovery. Remember all of that stuff?
Yes.
So can you talk about these items in terms of that, so that it's relevant to our situation now?
Well,
think about it from the conqueror's perspective.
From the conqueror's perspective, okay. So from the conqueror's perspective, they rationalize basically, well, if I can keep them in this abstract or under this curse or out of the natural laws, the longer I can do that, the longer I can keep them running like that, I've earned this. This becomes mine. Right. So that's now right. they rationalize to themselves that they actually deserve this. They've worked.
That's
for
right.
it. And
that's
that's
right.
them. It was stolen. So, which
means
they justify the wrong that they did.
That's right.
So they justify through rationalization the lie that they told us that we've accepted.
That's right.
Okay, they deceive us and stole it from us, and then rationalize it, justify it, so that we can actually accept it, and we have.
That's right. And they put forth what? They put forth theory, theology, right? Religion. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Continue, please.
Yeah. So that's what they actually use to steal and cheat from us.
There you go. There you go.
Wow. So we go around, not even knowing who we are, identifying ourselves. Well, cannot even identify ourselves really.
And what does it say in the curses? We would be what? Destroyed.
Destroyed. Yes.
Yes. This is how they did it, and this is how they get us to buy into it and to participate and to help them destroy and keep us destroyed.
Dr. Yusufa, as deep and as long as this goes, how in the world do you wake people up with that truth? Because they simply, the majority, will not accept it.
Mm-hmm. Well, according to the contract, remember, I don't know if you remember, we read in the contract where it says that the Most High would disclose information to Yasharallah.
Yes,
right?
He would.
Yes. And then those who get well, first of all, you have to be Yasharallah to get the disclosure, right? Mm-hmm. So in other words, not all richly melanated people are Yasharallah.
But those,
right? Because remember, in the curses, one of the curses is that we would be killed off through various means. We would be killed, right? They would kill us off. So if you look at all of the original nations, they're all richly melanated. We're just one of many. We're one of, I think, what, between 16 or 18. I don't remember how many nations there are, but we're just one. So if our population is reduced, so you have a small number over a big number, you get a small percentage, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's only a small percentage of us who are Yasharala. All of us will get that disclosure when you go back to Deuteronomy 30. Remember verse 1? It says, in the land of your captivity, you're going to learn about the blessings and the curses. Well, that's in Deuteronomy 28, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it says that if you decide that you want to return to me and all of that. So there's a personal decision that people, first there's disclosure, and then there's Deuteronomy 28, right? Then the person makes the decision that they want to come back or they make the decision to return them, but also their family. So that means there's some teaching going on, right?
That's right. That's right.
Because it says you and your family. That means there's some teaching. So where does the education comes from? It comes from Deuteronomy chapter 28, right?
Mm-hmm.
The blessings and the curses and the disclosure that you're Yasharala, right? People who want it will return. And then the Most High says what? The Most High says that if you return, he will step in and what? Put it inside of your heart so that you'll be able to keep the commandments. You'll be like one automatic pilot.
Mm-hmm.
That's when he's going to restore us or restore our fortunes. Remember that?
Yes, yes, yes.
Remember he said that's when he's going to restore our fortune?
Restore, actually, I believe he said he would even double our fortune.
Yes, and he's going to give us more. So all we need to do is keep doing what we're doing. And the Most High, if a person is Yasharala, they'll get the disclosure, right? They'll learn about Deuteronomy chapter 28, blessings and the curses. And if they want to return, they'll actually start to follow. But remember, the essence of following is just do no harm.
Doing no harm, yeah. That's what we mentioned, natural. Yes, yes.
Do you have any questions about that?
No, no. I think that literally explains itself, especially in the terms of what's happening in our world today, what's taking place right now.
So when we learn about Deuteronomy 28, we will also learn about concrete and abstract, right? And so you also, because you're in the Deuteronomy 28 class, right? That's where you learn about the natural law stuff.
Yes, yes.
So all of this stuff came out of the Deuteronomy 28 studies, or course,
natural law,
right? So I struggle with this issue about all melanated people not responding. And then finally, I realized that only a small percent of us need to respond. And on top of that, have you ever heard of the phenomenon called I think it's called 99 monkeys? Have you heard of that?
No.
Let me see if I can find it on the internet. I want to show you this.
Okay.
Well, it's a phenomenon where when you get a certain mass, you get a certain, you reach a certain threshold of people rather. 99 monkey phenomenon. Or is it theory? Let's see if it's theory. Let me see if this is it. So this has been seen in nature. Let me see. Jimmy, can you read that? I got too much stuff on my screen. I can't see it.
Not a problem. I can see it here. It says the 100 monkey effect is a hypothetical phenomenon in which a new behavior or idea is said to spread rapidly by unexplained means from one group to all related groups once a critical number of members of one group exhibit the new behavior or acknowledge the new idea.
So how does that apply to what we're talking about?
So basically, once a critical member within that small group of Yesharala, once that group or that individual get means of it, understands it, some reason it actually spreads.
Right. So once a small number
Mhm.
of Yasharala, no, the threshold number, let's say a threshold number. Once a threshold number of Yasharala begin to learn this and return to the Most High, right? The Most High says he will bless our hand, the work of our hand, not what we think, right? That's Christianity,
Mhm.
the work of our hand. So when we begin to keep the Most High's instructions, follow his instructions, when we reach that critical threshold number, then that behavior, according to this, my personal opinion is that this is a natural law because this is observed in nature.
Observed nature, understood.
It's observed in nature, yes. So once that critical threshold is hit, the entire population will adopt the new behavior.
Once that threshold, because they will be able to spread it again like wildfire.
Right. Now remember, we're talking about a behavior, not
Not
what?
talk about concrete, something that we all can experience, because we could
Yes,
see the action that they are performing. We could see the way they are behaving differently
yes,
versus what we perceive in our own minds.
yes, that's correct. So it appears to me, and I don't know, but just thinking in terms of natural law, when we look at Deuteronomy 30, right, 1 through 3, it appears that once that threshold number of Yasharala returns to the Most High, natural law will kick in.
Hmm.
Follow what I'm saying?
Yes, yes.
Natural law will kick in, and the Most High will do whatever it is he's going to do it through whatever mechanism, right? Is that the mechanism? Who knows? But they call it here a hypothesis. Hypotheses are always abstract, right? But I've seen this. You can look at the case where this comes from, where monkeys were starving and they dumped potatoes so that the monkeys could eat. The monkeys wouldn't eat, right? But then one little young monkey went down and grabbed one of those potatoes and washed it off and started eating it. A couple days later, another monkey came out, washed the potato off and started eating it. And then when the 99th monkey ate it, right?
Mhm.
The next monkey who did it, the whole colony came down, started eating. Yeah.
Wow.
So this is actually observed in nature. So in my opinion, it's concrete.
So you can actually see it happening.
You see what I mean? So this gave me relief because I was distressed because so many richly melanated people, they don't want to hear anything about following the Most High's instructions. Right?
No, that's the last thing.
But all we need is a small
But
amount.
the enemy is very wow bright. I guess they know, because here's the thing: even those who would love to follow the instructions, what the enemy managed to do with this abstract theory is literally go in and played with this so much that even those who really would like to follow the instruction mentally up there, they somehow lost
Yes.
the
Yes.
true instructions of what they really are.
Yep. And you know what? But they're still responsible. You know why?
Yeah.
Because nobody told them not to use their own brain.
Yeah.
They have free will. Everybody has free will to use their own brain, and everybody has common sense.
Yeah.
Right? We all have common sense. It's just a matter of do you choose to use it, right?
Choose it. Yeah.
Yeah. So are you gonna, for example, are you gonna trust your enemy, these people who have harmed you and oppressed you? Are you gonna establish them in your mind as an authority figure? That don't make common sense, right? Because these people have harmed, they have a history of harming you, and they're still harming you to this day. So why would anybody in their right mind look at these people as authority figures on, let's say, what's good for your health?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Common sense says don't do that. In the natural world, for example, a prey will never trust the predator.
Yeah.
Right?
on, man.
Prey never trust a predator unless you what? Domesticate them,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we are the prey and they're the predator,
And
right?
we've been domesticated.
And we've been domesticated. Like for example, a cat in the natural environment will never jump in the water and swim.
Mhm.
And a dog will never climb a tree on its own, but you can train it.
To do it.
Yeah, you can train it to do it. And they train us, right? They train us.
Years of training us. Years of training
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
And then I think that's where the problem comes in, man, is that with what we were born into, even though we do have the mind to choose, we get to decide, but with what we have been born into, what was passed down to us,
Yes, because we did it by choice, right? Even though we've been indoctrinated and everything else, nobody is putting a gun to our head and forcing us to do or believe any of this. You know what I mean? It's just that we have accepted that they are the authority figure. Like a lot of people say the white man is the black man's God.
Hmm.
You know? So it's a hard pill to swallow, right? It's a hard pill to swallow. But if you accept that, then that also gives you the power to say no. No as in no, N-O, I'm not doing it anymore. And then no as in K-N-O-W, I know that's not true. And I know I have the power. You see what I mean?
Yes, yes.
No, right? So, so let's run through the rest of this.
All right.
Give me so for people who are not familiar with this, can you please go ahead and teach the rest of this?
Absolutely. All right. So now we're going to take a look at the concrete Hebraic paradigm. Now, again, we just spoke about the abstract Greek paradigm. Now we are contrasting it with the concrete Hebraic paradigm. Concrete meaning reality. Everything we experience through our five senses, that's reality. What are the five senses? What we can see, what we can actually hear, what we can smell, what we can taste, and what we can touch. That's reality.
Yeah. Very good.
Concrete exists in a material or physical form. That means it exists. Real or solid. Again, it is the opposite of abstract, because abstract, like we said, is in our mind. Concrete is more than being in our mind. Concrete, if I can experience it, you can experience it, and anybody listening in right now or watching this can actually experience that very same thing.
Let me ask you a question, Jimmy. If everybody can see it and hear it and experience it like that, is it hard to lie when you're dealing with the concrete?
You cannot lie when you're dealing with concrete because it's right there.
Right.
It's right there. We all can see it. We're not making it up. I don't have to far-fetch believe it. Some may believe it, some may not believe it. It's concrete. We can all say, yes, I see that. There it is.
Yes. And now what about abstract?
Abstract, on the other hand, we can be arguing right now.
That's right.
Which is religion. We are arguing because, hey, I see it. This is my, what was the word you use? My philosophy, my doctrine.
Yeah.
So we're going to argue on one passage or on one sentence based on our own perception.
And a what? On a translation that the people who are arguing, 99% of them, they don't know what it says in the Hebrew.
To begin with, they don't even know what it actually said.
Yeah.
Man.
Very good. Excellent.
Which one will push us to another topic? And that's probably not the platform for this topic. That we'll take on private. But it literally, man, it literally leaves a lot of open questions with what we were conditioned over years, doctrinated into. So when you understand it like this, you remove all the lies. Man, you said it best. You remove all the lies because it is concrete. We all can literally see it and experience it. I don't have to argue with you trying to convince you what actually happened to me. This is what it was.
because you can actually see it.
That's right. That's right. Let's finish this off, Jimmy, with an example. Can you present this and explain it like you're teaching someone who has absolutely no familiarity with this topic?
I'll do it. I'll do it. Psalm chapter 1, verse 3. Concrete example. Let me go ahead and just make a quick adjustment to my screen here.
Okay.
There we go. And let's get this up here. All right. So Psalm chapter 1, verse 3, concrete example. Psalm chapter 1, verse 3. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water that brings forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he does shall prosper.
Very good.
That's what the verse actually said. You can experience everything through your five senses. You can see the banana trees, different fruits, lemon. You can literally taste the lemon. You can touch the mango leaves. You can actually hear the raging water as it flows down that river. You can smell the strawberries. That when you look at that particular verse, it is concrete. It is concrete.
Very good. And the word like is underlined because that's signaling that's tipping us off that there's a comparison that's going to be made, or things are going to be expressed metaphorically, right?
Yes.
Concrete. Excellent, excellent, excellent. You have anything else you want to say about that, Jimmy?
Man, no, I think that literally covers it. Anybody who actually reads this can see what we mean by something that is concrete. And this is going to be good because now we will follow it up with Psalm 103, verse 8, which is an abstract example, which is in contrast, the opposite of what we just did with Psalm chapter 1, verse 3. Mm-hmm. So here, abstract thought, expression of thoughts and ideas not observed by the senses. So here is the example. Psalms chapter 103, verse 8. The Most High is compassionate and gracious, slow to anger, abounding in love. Oh man, I hear this verse all the time. Abounding in love. You cannot see, touch, or hear, taste, or smell compassion, gracious, anger, or love. Now, some may argue, well, I could see anger. Well, how do you see anger? Well, the expression in their face, the way they are acting. How do we explain that?
Have you ever saw somebody who looks angry, but they're not?
Absolutely. I've seen somebody's, it's just that their natural nature, the natural nature of their face. They look like they're mad all the time. Yet when you talk to them, they are very caring and very willing to speak with you. It's just that when they're not speaking, they are about their business. They look like they're angry. Yes.
Yeah. So anger is a feeling. It's emotion. Yeah. And you cannot see a feeling or emotion.
Which we
All
establish.
feelings and emotions are abstract. Very good. Very good.
Anger abounding in love. Again, you cannot hear, you cannot see, you cannot touch, you cannot smell compassion. But we've been fed this idea what compassion is.
Yeah. Yeah. So for us, these things relate to what I do for you and what you do for me. That's concrete, right? Let's say, for example, you have a woman or a friend, and those things that need to be done that you're aware of, you do it. Mm-hmm. Right? Now, if you don't do it, then that's not caring, right?
It's not caring. That's right.
So that's the concrete of it.
That's the concrete.
I'm providing, right? Mm-hmm. I'm providing whatever it is he or she needs. That's appropriate for that relationship, right?
That's right.
Or let's say if it's a fatherless boy or a widow, I provide. I provide. That's all it is. It's doing. That's why our society was so strong and healthy, because we did things for each other. It wasn't just oh, wow, look at that homeless person, I feel sorry for him. like most people do in the West, and they walk right by.
Well, if they're lucky,
But
they might just
then they'll say they're compassionate because they felt sorry for them. Well, you don't care. I mean, I feel sorry for people when I see. But what do you
give them
do?
$2.
Right. What did you do? What did you do to help that person? Right.
Because you're saying you're compassionate again, it's what you feel. That's just that feeling. It's not concrete. But literally,
It's love and compassion. It's not a feeling. It's what you do.
it's what you actually do. That's the concrete.
So, for example, our ancestors, they would leave fruit and vegetables in the field for the poor. You know, as opposed to taking it all. So it's really what we do, right?
Actions. Oh, that's the concrete aspect of it.
Yeah. So did we get everything?
No, let's finish with this this slide up. So abstract Greek words are used to translate concrete Hebrew words. Why? So why does abstract Greek words are used to translate concrete Hebrew words? So for those who are listening, who's watching in on this, I guess this is bringing in the whole point, is that when we're looking at the translation of the Bible, it is that whoever is translating that particular version that you are looking at is literally using the abstract Greek words and feelings to describe what was originally written for you to literally be able to witness, to feel with one of the five senses.
Yes, excellent, excellent.
When they do that, you actually get that word because you're getting it from an abstract point of view. That's why then it leaves all this room for argument between you and I, because now you're going to perceive it in your own world one way, yet I'm reading it, I'm perceiving it a different way.
That's right.
It's abstract. Wow.
That's right. Very good. Very good. Before we read this verse, how does this relate to the many Bible translations and the many forms of Christianity? And go ahead and discuss that. I gotta go to the bathroom real quick. So can you go ahead and discuss that, Jimmy? How does what you just said, let's call it the gap, going from concrete to abstract. In between those, there's a gap. So can you discuss how that relates to all of these different all of these religions that use the Bible, and then all of the different versions of the Bible translation?
Well, it definitely relates to it, as we were saying, because when that author or this individual who is translating or transliterating the Bible uses abstract terms, then it gives their own philosophy, again, their own abstract meaning to it. And as we've established earlier on in this presentation, is that when you are dealing with an abstract situation, an abstract word, you have nothing left but your own opinion, which then leaves the room for confusion, the room for division. So you have all those different translations because each individual who's translating, whether it's the King James, whether it's the NIV, whether it's the English Standard, whoever's translating that is giving their own perception, and it's all abstract. Because when you are dealing with abstract, it is hard. Well, abstract means it's not reality. And if it's not reality, we all cannot experience it. And that's the problem. So therefore, what is in the mind of the individual who actually translated it and what is in the mind of the individuals who are actually reading it differs. And because it differs, it leaves all this room for different interpretation, for different understanding, for different doctrine. And again, it all goes back to the philosophy, to what is in the mind. Excellent. Whereas concrete, we all would have been able to experience the very same thing with one or all of our five senses. Yeah. We all would have experienced it. And as a result, therefore, nobody could have point and say, you're a liar. No, I don't believe you, because we all see the exact same thing.
Yes, very good. So that gap, if I can summarize, that gap between concrete and abstract, that translation and rendering gap allows these religions to create a religion and a doctrine. Mm-hmm. Religion is between the gap. It's between the gap.
So if both of us cannot agree on one thing here, like what we just read on Psalm 103, concrete, based on the feelings. So now you're going to go ahead and do your own thing and call it something else based on your understanding. Then I'll turn around and do my own thing, call it something else. And we're both going to try to recruit people.
That's right.
Leading
And they also, if I heard you correctly, which is correct, they render, okay, between the gap, they will render the verse or the word to support their doctrine. Right?
Yes, yes.
That's why learning Ibriata or the Phoenician Hebrew script and all the grammar, etymology, denotative versus connotative, the culture, all the things that we do, the natural law, all of these. This is why it's so important.
Yes. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So now when we read it, we can literally tell the difference and say, no, Mr. James actually rendered this way based on his belief, because it does not fit what was written. There's no concrete here to fit it, and which is what a lot of the exercise that we do in the class.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right. That's right. That's what a lot of the exercises that we do in the class. It uncovers deceit, outright lies, and just a scribal error. We can uncover it. That's what we do. When we discuss Brown Driver Briggs and that whole thing that we do, that's what it is.
Speaking of that, Dr. Isapa, I literally got me. I got the Strong Concordance, the extended version already. I got that a while back when we first started, but more recently, I found.
Yes, Brown. Okay, great.
Is this a good version?
Yeah, great. One day I think I'm going to teach a class on how to use that.
Yeah,
so
I got it.
Complicated.
I got it, but don't know much about it. That's why I wanted to show it to you.
Yeah, that's good because you need it. Everybody needs to have that and the Strong at minimum. So I enjoyed this conversation. I hope all the people will enjoy it as much as I did, and that they actually learned something. I hope.
I hope so too. I hope this is an eye-opening, and trust me, there is just a lot more. I think we just kind of go around the surface of what the classes are really about. This is just a lot more. Based on this conversation, for those of you who are following this, who are listening, you can literally tell this is going beyond opening the book or the Bible, read a verse, and then start shooting from the hip what we believe that verse means, and then turn around, and here's one of my favorite lines: you have to be endowed by the Holy Spirit to understand what it is saying. But yet you got 5 different people, 10 different people, 20 different people who's claiming that very same Holy Spirit on that very same verse, but yet that Holy Spirit is giving us 10 different rendering.
Yeah. But they got these heathens, man. They really got us good, didn't they? They really got us good.
Man, I mean, they talk about divide and conquer. Unbelievable. It's and the amazing thing about this, Dr. Isapa, the more you understand this and you see this, you actually start to see it on just everyday things, everyday life that you deal with, people you're dealing with at the workplace. You start seeing different things. And what I'm trying to get to, what level I'm trying to get to, is being able to identify these hybrids, man. I want to be able to hey, as soon as they come around, okay, I know who you are. Whether it's through smelling them or Yes, sir.
Man, Jimmy, you did a great job on presenting and teaching. I want to congratulate you. You really have a good understanding of the topics that we're dealing with. So, and I appreciate that. I really do.
Thank you, Dr. Saba. I appreciate that.
Because you having such a good grasp of the information makes me feel like what I'm doing is effective. So when I see you present and teach like that, that's the biggest compliment and reward that I can imagine. So I'm very happy with that. So congratulations.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And thank you for presenting this type of information. Again, not easy to grasp. And again, you have to be, Yasharel, because it has to be somewhat inscripted in you that when you hear it, that you connect and knows and understand what you are dealing with. So I'm very intrigued by it. And I know there's just so much more. So much more to learn, so much more to learn. And I would encourage anybody watching this to go ahead and let's put some of this stuff to the test, and start seeing things for yourself, what's really going on around you. Because there is no way that everybody can agree that, yeah, there is a common enemy, but somehow, some way cannot identify that enemy. We all claiming that there is definitely a higher power, but somehow, some way, that higher power is so split into so many different figures or different ways of viewing it, and then getting lost into this abstract world. This is some serious decoding right there to actually find what the true problem is. And when you really look at it, that is the problem. That is the problem.
That's right.
We are being forced to live in here. We've been stuck in here. We've been locked up in here.
Like a cat swimming in water.
Wow.
It's unnatural for us. It's not ours. It's not. The cat had to be trained to swim in that water and be comfortable, right?
Be comfortable swimming in that water.
That's right. Same as us. We were trained through physical and emotional abuse to be comfortable in this abstract paradigm, this abstract worldview. It's unnatural.
We've made it out somehow. You realize that we've made it out. It's hard to come out of it for some. It's hard to come out of it for some. Wow. Yeah.
Okay, so Jimmy, let's wrap it up. What time? I want to get me something to eat. I've been up since 3:30 this morning.
Okay, all right. Hey, listen,
this morning.
I know we're in two different time zone. I gotta be up in a couple hours. So.
Yeah, I went out this morning and got a cup of coffee, and in anticipation of meeting with you, I wanted to be awake,
Okay.
and so I went out and got a cup of coffee, and I sat there for a little bit, kind of relaxed, and I went. There's a river across the street from my house. So I went and I sat at the river, which was why I was late. A little bit late. I sat down at the river and, just tried to enjoy. I got this thing now where I'm trying to enjoy, my life. Instead of just going through life, I'm trying to absorb and enjoy it, right? Instead of boom, 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 and, not paying attention to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that, man, and then I came back here, and I like what I did. I think I'm going to start doing that more often. Try to make it a habit to sit and just enjoy. Typically, I go straight to the gym, right? My mind is on like goals, and I do are you familiar with mirror work?
I've heard the term.
MIRROR. So I do mirror work every day. I just started a couple of weeks ago. Mirror work is where you say affirmations. Okay. So you state your goals in an affirmation, and you visualize. That whole thing we talked about the reticular activating system.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I do that, and you do it in front of a mirror.
Okay.
So I go to the gym and they got these mirrors all around. People probably think I'm crazy, right? Because I'm in the mirror, I'm talking to myself, right? You know, if you ever play sports, you get yourself hyped up. So I'm doing this in the mirror. I don't know anybody. Well, I see the faces every day, but I don't talk to anybody.
Gotcha.
So they probably think I'm crazy. So
here again.
yeah, so I do my mirror work, and then you know I come back home, I eat, and I get to work. And so you know I need to start, you know, trying to enjoy and appreciate the moments, you know, that I have, and slow down, and you know, just try to be thankful, you know, be present, be in the present, and be thankful for what I have. And so I'm trying to develop that habit, man, but it's really difficult to slow down, you know. It's really difficult to slow down and to just be in the moment. Have you ever tried that?
It's like you said, it's very difficult. It's very difficult because you're always in a run, always in a run. I mean, you know, you get to go next to the river, man. That's one of the things that I miss most about back home in the islands. I used to wake up early in the morning, first thing, and just take a walk up the mountain and get all the way up of the mountain, and you just stay up there and you know you meditate and you get in touch, you know, with you, just that time with you.
Yeah. You know what, Jimmy? I'm gonna do this class. Not class. I'm gonna do this this show on YouTube. Well, no, let's turn this off. I'm gonna tell you about it. Okay.
Okay.
Let's stop the live. Okay.
All right.
Hold on. Let me see.
Dr. Isapa, just one more time, maybe in case anybody's joined.
Wait a minute, say that again, Jimmy. My phone was ringing.
Go off the live. Maybe you want to let the audience know, whoever is looking for the class, what avenues they should go. How can they sit in? Because I know you're doing a promotion.
Somebody keeps calling me, Jimmy. Can you do it? Because I can't hear what it is you're saying because somebody keeps calling.
Not a problem. So anybody who's actually watching this right now and who is interested, there is currently a class going on with Dr. Isapa Zion Law School. And in this class, again, some of the stuff that we talk about, you know, understanding the difference between concrete and abstract, you begin to understand that. You begin to actually take your Bible and hold it upright, and you for yourself will be able to start looking and discerning exactly what was originally written. Not just waiting for somebody in a pulpit to tell you what was written, but you yourself, because it's your responsibility. It is your life. Go in, take a look at what it said, what was translated to you in your language, regardless what language it is that you're reading. Then, after you discover what it was said in that language, let Zion Law School go ahead and show you how to look at what it actually said and what it really means. So by then, you will take away all the philosophy. You will take away all the philosophy. You will take away the doctrine part of it, and you will be able to get to the bottom and understand exactly what was originally said. You see, once you understand for yourself what was originally said, then you start to discover the lies. You start to discover the doctrines. You start to discover and understand the difference between mankind's philosophy and the truth of the Most High, what He really wants us to know. And that, you know, that's the purpose of this class. That's what I've gained from it, and I believe that's what you too will be able to gain from it. You can go ahead and respond to, you know, to this show here through a message, leaving a message here on YouTube. I'm sure Dr. Isapa will be able to see it, and we'll be able to send you a link. There is a special, I believe you're running right now, Dr. Isapa, for four free classes, to sit in for 4 free classes to see how it actually runs. I'll tell you what, you'll be surprised what you actually learn within those 4 weeks alone. All right. So looking forward to meeting some of you guys there.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. Let me turn the live off. That was a great job.